So we just finished talking about market failures and talking about taxes. So let's actually dive into what the government does. It's all about economics and how little they know about what they imagine they can design. Hayek, who's a famous economist, said about government. So we're looking at fiscal policy and we're trying to figure out who runs it, how do we expand and contract our economy, how do we decide how we should fix the scenario, and then how does a Republican or Democrat respond differently to the same scenario? Believe it or not, they're both trying to do the same thing. They just have completely opposite ways of doing it. So let's dive into a federal budget. So this is taxes and spending. This is spending specifically. Discretionary means choice, mandatory, Social Security, Medicare are written into law. How much more are we going to spend? How much less are we going to spend? So we want to maintain growth. We want to limit inflation and limit unemployment. Those are the goals. So the tools that we use for fiscal policy are taxes and spending. How much does the government increase or decrease? Each one of these will influence the economy. So fiscal policy is run by government. And it's different than what we're going to talk about in the next unit. We're going to talk about the Fed, or the Federal Reserve. Don't think about government when we talk about the Fed. Government runs fiscal. They only control taxes and spending. So those are their tools, and they impact prices and GDP, modifying those tools. So when you look at an economy, it can only be in 3 possible places at any given time. We want to be here. We want to be at a healthy unemployment level between 4 to 6%. We want to be at healthy inflation levels between 1 to 2%. Sometimes we get going too fast, and sometimes we get going too slow. So we're going to sort out these in this unit, fixing the economy, to get back to the ideal. So let's look at scenario 1. We're given a nation that has an unemployment rate at 8% and inflation numbers are dropping, which means we're going too slow, right? Unemployment's too high. So how do we fix? We need what's called an expansionary fiscal policy to get back to this ideal full employment level. If we have above 6% unemployment, we want an expansionary fiscal policy, which would combine an increase in government spending and a decrease in taxes. We need to press on the gas pedal and kickstart our economy. So by increasing spending, we increase demand and output and jobs, and by lowering taxes, we have more money to spend. Do not trick logic and take this too far and say, well, that means that the government goes further in debt and we're going to lose more money, and in the end, we're going to ruin our economy. Save that thought process about national debt to our next chapter, and we'll explain national debt and how, well, yes, we will increase national debt with this policy, but national debt isn't exactly what you think it is. So in scenario 2, we're given an example that the nation has record high inflation of 6%. Are we going too fast or too slow? Well, we're going too fast. So we need a contractionary. We need to press the brakes and slow this economy down. How would we know we're going too fast? Unemployment is below 4%. So we're overemployed, or inflation's above 2%. So we need what's called a contractionary fiscal policy. A contractionary fiscal policy to slow the economy down would combine decreasing spending, government spending, and increasing taxes. So just the opposite. Reducing spending would reduce demand, reduce prices, reduce output, slow our economy down, and increasing taxes would take more money away from consumers and businesses. Probably a very unpopular opinion with increasing taxes. So usually what the government tries to do is they try to limit this spending, see where they can cut back. But it might naturally occur that taxes go up because people make more money and they fall into higher tax brackets. So in summary, here's the policies together. Again, this is the ideal, and this unit's about fixing these 2 things to get back to the middle. So just another visualization summary. So let's just quickly practice. The economy has inflation at 4%. Find and underline the key words. Well, a key word would be this 4% inflation. Is that good or bad? Are we going too fast or too slow? Our policy below is going to fix it. So I would guess that 4% inflation means we're going too fast. So let's slow it down. How would we slow it down? Well, the government needs less spending, so that would take care of that. And the government needs to increase taxes to slow down spending. I'll let you take care of this scenario. Pause the video. All right, let's look at how a Republican and Democrat would solve scenarios differently. They're trying to do the same thing. The old school idea of economics and fiscal policy was to do nothing. That worked until the Great Depression, and then the Great Depression happened, and we tried to figure out, well, how do we need to kickstart it? So a guy named John Maynard Keynes comes along. He comes up with Keynesian economics, which is supported by Democrats. It's the concept that the government needs to influence demand. So the government's going to either increase government spending when we're in a recession or increase taxes when we're going too fast, when we have inflation. These are worded probably differently than just straight up, we're going to increase spending, we're going to increase your taxes. They're worded to make these sound a little bit nicer to the public. So Democrats usually support what's called Keynesian economics. There's a couple examples of Bernie Sanders. Versus a Republican-supported idea is this idea of supply-side economics. It really came out of Reagan administration. And the idea is that by either lowering taxes or lowering government spending, we can do the same thing on the economy. Supported by Republicans, and they, again, would say this in a different way than just this, but the whole idea is that by cutting costs, we allow producers to produce more, less taxes so they can produce more stuff, or lowering government spending. Look at Donald Trump's plans about regulating industries less, so less government spending and lower taxes. Those two ideas support a Republican idea. So both trying to influence the economy, both trying to grow it or shrink it, just two totally different ways of shrinking or growing the economy. So a quick practice, go through these scenarios, pause the video, and until next time, good luck.